The meeting of the Suffern Central Board of Education for Tuesday, November 19th, 2019. Let the record reflect all board members and superintendent are present. The time is 8:08. Please rise to the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have a student report for tonight?
So on the 20th, we have a countywide speech forensics / debate competition. On 21st, there's office hours at 7 p.m., which is A through K. On the 23rd is the area all-state competition. On the 26th, there's office hours again at 7 p.m. for letters L through Z. And then on the 29th is the first hockey game.
Thanks, Mike.
Good job, Mike. Thank you.
Minutes of the regular meeting for November 5th, 2019. Do I have a motion to approve? Move. Mr. McKenzie? There's a second?
Second.
Mr. Cairns? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay. 1.09, Acting Superintendent's comments.
I'd like to invite our external auditor up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Donnelly Berard. I am partner of this Berards and Associates CPAs. We were retained by the school district to perform actually 3 audits for you. We did the annual audit for June 30, 2019. We did your single audit over the federal funds, which is compliance and programmatic based, and then also an audit of the extracurricular activities. I did bring a couple of copies of the audit. I don't think you all have electronic versions, but if anybody would like a copy, just let me know. I'm pleased to report that we issued an unmodified, which is the good report that you want on all 3 audits. I'd also at this time like to thank the accounting staff and Teresa for all their great assistance and cooperation. Last week, I did meet with the audit committee. We did review all 3 reports in detail. So I don't think we need to do that again now. I think that committee will give you any of their detailed importance that they want to share with you. However, just in summary, to give you a, like a one-liner detail, for the general fund, which is your main fund on the fund basis, you had excess revenues over expenses of $2,257,000 for the year. That increased your fund balance for the general fund to $43,869,000. The increase this year, the couple of things that were unique was that you had several unreplaced teacher positions, which saved some money, as well as there was a significant reduction in the required retirement contributions than expected. Does anybody have any questions? Then my job is done.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anything else that we need to add for your comments? Or would you just give them over all the time? Just give them over, okay. Okay, public participation. This is public participation on action items only. Please feel free to step to the podium. Every speaker will have 3 minutes. The session will last no longer than 30 minutes. Please refrain from mentioning any district personnel or students.
Can I talk about, I'm new to this, public transportation?
I'm sorry?
Can I talk about transportation?
You can during the second public participation session.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay. As I see nobody standing up, we will close this portion of the meeting and we will move to action items. And now, before we get to action items, we do need to make a walk-on resolution. So I need a motion to add what will be action item 2.11 to the agenda. This action item will be a resolution that will read as follows. Be it resolved that the board hereby appoints the law firm of Shaw, Harrelson, May, and Lambert to represent the district in connection with the litigation in the matter of Douglas S. Adams versus the Board of Education of the Suffern Central School District, Shaw, Harrelson, May, and Lambert, LLP, David S. Shaw, Esquire, and Elizabeth A. Likovsky, Esquire, at the hourly rate of $210. Be it further resolved that the board hereby authorizes the board president to sign a waiver of conflict of interest dated November 19th, 2019, in the matter of Douglas A. Adams versus Board of Education of the Suffern Central School District, Shaw, Harrelson, May, and Lambert, et al. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Mr. McKenzie, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Shapiro? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, motion is passed. That will be action item 2.11. Now, do I have a motion for, well, first, does there anybody have anything they want to pull?
2.10.
2.10. Okay, anything else? Okay, then I'd like to ask for a consent agenda for action items 2.01 through 2.09 and 2.11. Do I have a motion?
Isn't it,
Stop.
isn't it 2.02 through 2.01?
No, well, Ms. Reamer's pulling 2.10. So the the consent agenda will be for 2.01 through 2.09 and 2.11.
Okay, I misread.
Okay. Yep. So, Dr. Nickpon, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Shapiro? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, 2.10. Do I have a motion for 2.10?
Move.
Mr. Shapiro? Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. McKenzie? Discussion. Ms. Reamer?
No discussion.
No discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Sorry. Aye.
Aye. Yeah, now we're voting on,
Yeah.
right.
Aye.
Aye.
All those against?
Nay.
Ms. Reamer? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Okay. Administrative reports, secondary CSIPs. Now, I can't tell you guys apart anymore with beard. I don't know who's who.
I think my beard's a little grayer than Pat's, but I'm not 100% sure. Of course.
Middle school stuff.
Middle school. Mr. Cairns is absolutely right, middle school stuff. But I do appreciate the opportunity to come present to the board tonight. I want to thank Mrs. Weber for giving us this opportunity and the school board for having me come here and talk about our middle school and what we've been up to this past year. This does not look like the right side. I think I gotta go back a little bit. That's the right side. All right, so Our school improvement plan for the year, we're going to try and definitely build on our successes from last year. We've got a lot of wonderful things going on at the middle school. Great instruction, great community service, and our building is just as vibrant and energetic as ever. So on behalf of the faculty, staff, students, and administration, we'll give you some highlights and I'll get into some details of the CSIP. So one of the great things that we've done over the past 3 years is we've really defined our mission and vision. It's taken us 3 years to get here. A lot of hard work by the faculty. I had a lot of great meetings with some of our student leaders and Greek Council to hear what they had to say about our school. Our faculty worked on this diligently. We got to a point where we needed a little bit of help, and I have to credit Dr. Ivy with helping us lead this process as well. But Suffern Middle School is a family of innovative scholars who value creativity and achievement. The school community motivates students to be empathetic, responsible citizens and make positive contributions to the world. And our vision is that we're empowering all our students, today's generation, to become future leaders of tomorrow. So everything we do from here on is going to be pinned to this mission and vision of our school. So I'm really proud of the faculty that did this. I also have to give a shout out to Gary Blake for creating this graphic for me on short notice. And I already mentioned Dr. Ivy, but to a couple of the teachers who really kind of coalesced this, and Jenny Narcisco and Michelle Nordone. So I'm really proud of our faculty, staff, and students for helping create this. So that's where I'm starting this year. Just to remind the board of a few things that we have. We have a really unique core and encore schedule, extended time for our academic core periods, a vibrant and really thrilling encore program that we have. With the board's support, we certainly have tremendous support for the performing arts in our schools. One of the focuses over the past several years was to bring students back to the school, Suffern students learning in Suffern schools, and with the help of Dr. Castaldo, we started a foundations program, we've expanded our therapeutic support program, and our learning center. And we adapted to the increase in our English language learners by creating multi-level math classes and an after-school program for them as well. We also have now created up to 15 active learning spaces in our school. Those are 4 of the new rooms that we did this year with Mrs. Weber's support and the board's support. I would invite everybody to come in and look at how the kids utilize these rooms and how they really promote engaged learning in our schools. They're fantastic. We do have a one-to-one iPad pilot going on in grade 7 this year. Getting through the bumps in the road in that, and it's a pilot, so we'll reevaluate it towards the end of the year to see if it's something we want to continue for next year. Students certainly love having that iPad in their hands all day long, though, I will say that. And just some of the examples of innovative instruction that you probably would see in some of our classrooms if you come to visit some of our classrooms. So one thing that doesn't go in my CSIP, because there's very little room for me to improve upon, is our academic accelerated program that we have. We use multiple measures of student performance for students to get into the program. We never keep a student out just because of one measure or one test. But our teachers, even if I put kids in the program, they do a fantastic job in getting the kids to success. These are based on 7th and 8th grade students, the algebra and the geometry, taking high school level mathematics exams. So we have a 100% pass rate on our mastery rate, that's 85 or above. On the geometry regions, just about 97% for the algebra region. Sorry, my math teachers, I'm rounding up. Living environment, biology when I was in high school, 96.2% and 100% passing rate for all. So, and that actually was a project that a student did using football cards in their math class. So we have some really innovative instruction. That was in Mrs. Metta's double accelerated math class. It was really cool to see. So something to be incredibly proud of here. We are incredibly good at getting our students, our accelerated students. About 35% of our students are in accelerated classes too. So that's well over 100 students in each grade. With the board's support this year, one of the things that we talked about was making sure that our students are involved in the community and supporting the community. Those top 3 clubs up there, Green Team Youth Against Cancer and Kindness Crusaders, were added to the budget as specific extra duties this year. They do some wonderful things in our schools, not only the Green Team with their cleanup, they're getting close to 1 million bottles in cans recycled. I don't know if there's anybody from the Green Team here today, but close to it over the past 7 or 8 years. Our Youth Against Cancer continues to raise money for different causes related to that. And our Kindness Crusaders have done some fantastic things, including our prior years doing our lift up and promoting kindness in our schools. Our student leaders participate in our school through student government and Greek council. And Mr. Mascola started a podcasting club last year, so we're going to see how that goes. But if you have the link to the YouTube channel, check it out. They post their podcasts on YouTube. So a couple of details of the actual school improvement plan. We have our 3 goals in literacy, mathematics, and in the social emotional area. Our goals in literacy are continue to see Lexile growth, as well as college and career readiness for all of our students. Increase math proficiency for all students, that's mainly from our NWA math results. And reduce bullying behaviors and increase emotional intelligence with our ELEI emotional intelligence program. So literacy, last year we increased by an average of 106 plus Lexile average across all grade levels. We utilize Achieve 3000 for that. We compare it to NWA MAP, that bears that out. We also had a 25% increase in how Achieve measures college and career readiness. And that's moving 25% more of our kids towards that in middle school, not waiting until they're in high school for college and career readiness. One of the things that we utilize also is a flexible AIS model. Students need pull-out AIS or push-in services or simply progress monitoring. We do that and we monitor those students all along the way. One of the great statistics, I know that Mrs. Weber, we talk about this all the time, how great our kids are. We get a statistic that 97% of them log into the program after school. So they are doing this, and that's far above, I think, rightly, that's far above like the national average from what kids, how kids utilize it.
It's double someplace.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We utilize some workshop model instruction with Read 180. And the ENL after school program, which we started last year, has been a great success in moving our ENL students towards a higher level of language acquisition and literacy skills so they can access the curriculum along with their classmates. As far as mathematics go, we increased our proficiency overall in all grades. We have a 97% overall mastery rate on all math readings exams. Again, we have a flexible AIS model with math as well. Pull in, push out, progress monitoring. Really, the computer-based resources that our teachers use, it's really up to them what they want to utilize. They utilize IXL, they utilize Math 180. And what we have for the ENL math class is a multi-level, multi-grade class. So if students need math instruction at their level, we have a math teacher and an ENL teacher that teach that class together, and a certified teacher that teach that class together. Students can move in and out of that class depending on where they're at. Once they get to a particular level, we then move them into a regular math class. So that is in its second year this year. It's been a great success for us as well. Social emotional well-being, certainly one of the hallmarks of middle school. One of the most difficult times in most children's lives is navigating those middle school years. We implemented, 7 years ago, we implemented an Obeys bullying prevention program. Students have reported being bullied less. This is through an anonymous survey every year. So we know that the kids are telling us where bullying happens, how frequently it happens. And I'll show you just a couple of the data points that I have for that. A lot of it is supported by our PTA. Our PTA puts an enormous amount of money into character assemblies and programs for us, and they've worked very well. And what we've decided to do is really fold in the EL Emotional Intelligence program to this program because we see the two programs working very well together. Our students have class meetings with their teachers. The teachers have built lessons on different aspects of preventing bullying. Right now we have 3 different levels of lessons in each grade for all of our students. We work on those, teachers work on those over the last several years. So just to give you an idea, over to the left, 2012, when we surveyed the kids, we were actually above the national average for girls and boys being bullied 2 to 3 times per month. Students are asked that question. Bullying typically defined as repeat behavior. Fast forward to 2019, we're at about 8%, right about half of where we started. And that, remember, that's also, data-wise, that's with 1/3 of our students turning over every year. So to me, that speaks to how the culture of the school has changed in the past 7 years since we've implemented this program. Certainly has its ups and downs. We use the survey when we get this to try and target the behaviors that students have reported and to try and address them as a building. And just one other thing that we look at, and these are only 2 out of about 25 points that we get from all this. we try and get, how are we trying to get students to stop other students from bullying? So one of the things that we've done over the past year, last year, certainly followed up with the kindness campaign. We had a mentoring program for boys. But you can see, even some of the girls report that they feel more comfortable stopping bullying as it takes place now. And I give Mrs. Casaldo a lot of credit for that, our assistant principal. She got the KIND campaign up and running, and it's really turned into a great program at the middle school to where it's really promoting kind actions between young ladies, and we'd like to see that number certainly higher. One student being bullied is certainly too much, but we work hard at it every single day. And it's one of the things that, I think if you're in middle school, you spend your life trying to do. I wanted to show you some of the charters that our teams came up with for Yale. As part of the Yale Emotional Intelligence Program, we want to know how students want to feel in school. When you walk through the door into your classroom, how do you want to feel? These happen to be 2 6th grade charters. The teachers led students in discussions. And when they walk into their classrooms now, this is what they see. And you can see, for example, Team Falcons, we want to feel included, respected, comfortable, safe, inspired, and valued. And that's how the students are telling the teachers they want to feel. It helps inform the teachers about how to react to their students as well, and what we will do, what they will do. And you can see they vary a little, but they very much kind of all get to the same thing in terms of respecting each other, making sure everybody's voice in the classroom is honored, and balancing kind of learning and fun, which is what we try to do in middle school. So we did this through a team model where each team developed a charter for their team, and some of the folks got creative. You can see the Team Hawks there decided they were going to put their whole team's picture on their charter, so they were really into it. And it's up for middle school. We really we're continuously looking at our academic program and our social emotional program. We want our students to meet high academic standards, but we also want to make sure that we're preparing all our students for high school and their future and preparing them for success. And that's my CSD presentation. I guess preparing for high school would be a good lead-in for Mr. Green in the high school.
Try to beat that.
Boy. All right. Well, congratulations, Brian, on a great career here. Definitely not missing. Thanks, Matt. What's weird is I never said a word to Brian about my CSIT, and I think you'll see some commonalities, which is actually refreshing. As I look at Brian's, I'm like, wow, we're doing that. So it's maybe, I don't know, subconscious.
Same mindset.
Anyway, it's great to see. I'm flanked by my administrative team here, Ms. Melissa Monaco, new to Suffern High School this year, but was from Suffern Middle School, Dr. James Douglas, and Dr. Trust. All right, so I'd like to begin just anchoring everything we do, of course, in our mission, which is really helping students achieve to their greatest potential, and again, focusing on their own personal wellness, and again, that's very timely. And this mission statement was written over 20 years ago, so it's still quite relevant to the building, and we're still guided by those words. Just some achievements from last year. So the class of 2019, we had a 97% graduation rate, and of those students, 96% going to 2- and 4-year colleges, with the U.S. military workforce, and some other post-secondary plans. What's great to see also, 88% of the students who participated in the Cambridge Global Perspectives program achieved proficiency. So to put it in our terms, 3 or better if it was an AP exam. And again, that's a globally rated exam, so we compete against students throughout the world. Also, New York Seal of Biliteracy. This is a little factor that I'm quite happy about. In 2018, remember we rolled this out, we had 4 students achieve that distinction, and last year we had 25, so that's grown quite a bit, and a credit to the World Language Department. And we expect it to be around the same number this year as well, so it's a great distinction for our students to have with all the language programs we offer throughout the district. Also happy to see we have 3 National Merit semifinalists and 8 commended students, so all in all, a great year for those students. Obviously, a lot of what we do with college and career readiness is anchored in our counseling in our guidance department, and so we're consistently revamping and looking at other ways to get information to parents, whether it's through assemblies with the parents, college nights, college fairs. We even invite colleges in for immediate decision days in January. The 3 colleges that have committed thus far are Dominican, RCC, and the University of New Haven. We also run FAFSA nights, so that's the financial aid form, the real bear that people need assistance with if you've been through it. So again, just a lot of information, and we try to make sure, most importantly, that our seniors in September, I don't know if the laser works, but it doesn't matter. All right, it doesn't matter. Go back to it. Our seniors, we have the Senior College Assembly information with the students so that they have the personalized information they need to move forward with their college application. So all important pieces. Just a quick flashback to last year's focuses on the priorities. We have our literacy focus. Our goal was 97% of the students meeting or exceeding proficiency. We wound up at 94%, but we did have an increase of 2% over the year, the prior year. So good there. I'm going to go through these. If you have any questions, we can talk about them after. Algebra 1, our target was 95%, and we arrived at 92%. And remember, all of the accelerated students have taken this exam in 8th grade, so it's a real achievement for these students that they've met that. That is a high school graduation requirement. But again, an increase of 5% from the prior year. So some great work happening in the math department. If you look at geometry, a real indicator as well, we want those students that are going for the advanced Regents diploma. You need 3 years of math. We had 88% meeting proficiency. Our target was 90, but again, we continue working toward that goal. So all good things. And this one, Algebra 2, another indicator for college readiness, recognized by the state. 92% was our target, and 93% was what we hit. So great results there. Our AP exams, you'll notice 89% scored a 3 or better. You'll notice a dip in the number of exams, and we attribute that, and we look at that closely to, I'm just going to jump to the next slide, the amount of offerings we have at the high school. So now we're up to 27 dual enrollment courses for students to acquire college credit. One nice factoid we pulled out of this senior class. This year we looked at the number of students in the senior class that have taken at least one AP or college course, and it's at 70%. So that's pretty good. And we want to make sure, ultimately your goal is to have almost every student have some college experience before they leave high school if that's where they're heading. So again, kudos to the program with those colleges and partnerships we have. We have the students also earning over 3,500 college credits collectively. And these credits are very important to families. These are credits that allow your child to maybe dive into their major much earlier. They save you some money. You don't have to take remedial courses or maybe it's a language course and you get it out of the way, but you can focus then your time and you maybe start, and we've had students start as late as sophomores when they've gone into college. So these are very important programs, and I think people see the value of it, which is why it gives AP a little bit of a competition. Priority 3, again, the social emotional learning. Last year, our goal was we rolled out the ruler, or the LEI, to the faculty, went through it throughout the whole year, and it was completely implemented with our staff as well, our secretaries, custodians, everybody on board. And so this year, we have a set of goal now to move toward the students. Our PBIS goal was around attendance, so we did target attendance to improve, but we remained at the same level of 94%. We have some different interventions we're going to try this year that look like they're actually working already. So for this year, we have, again, 3 priorities, very similar to Brian. Literacy, focusing on literacy, of course, is so important because it transcends just English. It crosses over into the other areas of the curriculum. It's essential. And math, Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, again, focusing on those particular math areas as indicators for college readiness, as well as for students who wish to achieve the Advanced Regents Diploma. And priority 3, social emotional learning. So we're going to continue our PD with the teachers in the area of ruler and implementation with students. We too did department charters, which I'll show you in a few minutes.
And we're going to look at implementing 9th grade classes this year and developing a 3-year implementation plan moving forward, so 10th and 11th, 12th after this. Our real target this year is decreasing the number of chronically absent students. That's students with absences of 18 or more days. So that's who we're targeting, and we'll talk about what some of those interventions look like in a second. So specifically, I won't get into the numbers, but again, keeping our targets high in the 90s for each of those areas, moving down to PBIS and social emotional learning, reducing that chronically absent number. If you look at it, it comes out to about 44 to 53 students, and reducing that to 1%. And so how do you do this? You do it very personally, and you meet with each of those students and you keep track, and we've had some success already. Every student has a reason. Some are medical, some are not, and there's a lot of different things that go on. We have students that are 20 years old to 14 years old, and everything in between. So it's a very individualized approach to addressing this, but we think we're on the right track this year thus far. So again, just some action steps. Remember, PBIS is behavioral intervention strategies. So it's very important that the students at Suffern High School feel connected and that we have a lot of opportunities to connect our students. Everything from being leaders, heroes and cool kids and peer leadership, to working with We Are Suffern, which is celebrating our diversity and our cultures. But again, giving everyone a voice through a club, whatever it might be. So we like to make these activities available to students through expos and recognize those students who are participating through Mounting Pride Awards, etc. Action steps for social emotional learning, again, phase 2 of Ruler. So this is really around PD again with the staff and push out to 9th graders. We have assembly scheduled this year. We already had Billy Keenan in from North Rockland, who's a teacher, paraplegic, who spoke to the students about overcoming adversity and being able to reinvent yourself throughout your life, whatever may come. So I think a very inspirational assembly, good feedback from the students, and more to come this year. Dialectical behavior therapy is being expanded to counselors. It's been already with our clinical staff, but we think there's a positive need for it, and it's a wonderful tool set, so thanks to PPS for making that available to the counselors. Last year I shared a similar slide. Each year, along the Yale motif, we asked the students, what comes to mind when you think about school? Now remember, this is the first day of high school, so you're going to get a lot of things. I'm always happy when I see excited and happy. They look to me to be the biggest responses, and the words are based on the number of people that said it. So nervous is definitely up there, anxious, but hopefully overwhelmingly there's some positivity there. And so then we asked them, how do you want to feel? And so again, happy comes through. We know what our kids want. They want to be happy, they want to feel safe, they want to feel excited. And so that's what Yale is about. It's about establishing that culture in the building. And so like Brian's, I have charters too. We have our departments, not our teams. Our departments have developed charters that they hang in their classrooms. And this is really the contract between the teacher and the student. This is the expectations. This is how we want you to feel. This is how I will treat you. But it works both ways. It's a two-way street. And I think that very clearly posted in the classroom has a positive impact on the culture, which is really what it's all about. So this is going on at the high school. Each department, again, hanging these charters throughout their classrooms. Programmatic areas. So these are programs that we have going on in the high school. They fall into the categories of AIS, perhaps, ENL support, and AVID, which is a specialized program to close achievement gaps. But basically the seminar program, again, providing content and skill-based support in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students. It can look anything from supporting for a Regents exam to additional skills-based support. Our 2-year ENL program, which is very successful, and I think the envy of the county, is supporting newcomers that come to the school in areas of English and the core subjects, so English, biology, and mathematics. There's push-in support and strategies that are used to support these students. We have school-wide AVID as well, so we're pushing out the strategies that are commonly seen in the AVID program, which I'll touch on this very briefly. But again, research-based, they work, and we're seeing some success with that. We happen to be in a living environment class. You see the picture there, Mrs. Boda. We just happened to walk into a group of 9th graders, and they were using a strategy that's commonly used in Avid, but in other areas it's called philosophical chairs. And basically it's almost like a Socratic seminar with a center ring discussing typically a heavy issue, something with an ethical, no right or wrong answer. And the people on the outside are called the wing people, and they support the person on the inside. They can look something up for them. So it's a very guided, student-centered conversation that really allows the students to explore a concept and have a discussion among each other. But again, just another example of where we're seeing this throughout the building and not just in an English class or a social studies class. So AVID, just very quickly, again, it's an important program. I think there's some demographic shifting. This is a program that has been designed to help students who are traditionally underrepresented in higher education, also first-generation college-bound students. And so what we try to do is offer this program to get these students who are motivated to achieve their best throughout high school and achieve ultimately acceptance to a 4-year college or university. The program is also in the middle school, and so we've already started working to align 7 through 12, and it's looking good. So just some snapshots of data. We're not going to dive in or anything, but just to give you an idea of the makeup of the course and the program. We want our English language learners to take part in this, students with socioeconomic challenges, parents that maybe did not go to college, don't know how the game is played, so to speak, or what they call the hidden curriculum, where who do you talk to, or how do you fill out the FAFSA form, or what other college scholarship opportunities are available. So a lot of that happens in the AVID program, and it's successful. So 96% of those students were accepted to a 4-year college or university. 85% of them are submitting the right forms to get the financial aid and applying as well to those universities. And they're doing well. They're taking dual enrollment courses or courses of rigor, which are defined as AP or IB. In our case, it's AP. But again, 100% of them graduating on time. That is also one of the key identifiers for that program. So we want that expanding, as we move forward, and we can probably see additional sections coming up in the near future. Just some literacy action steps. Again, using the technology we have, Achieve 3000. Like Brian, our students are hitting that program outside of school. It's reading comprehension, IXL, again, all the fun stuff you remember if you took English in the 70s, or mechanics, underlining and diagramming sentences, all that coming back. But again, just important skills. Math action steps. Okay, math department is phenomenal at their common assessments, looking at their data, where are the kids, not succeeding, how do we change that? And again, you can see the results in the regions through that work. A lot of them are using technology now. The iPads have been great for engaging students at all levels to be participating more in the classroom, which is really the design behind those. Again, you could be like Brian Schwartz and film every lesson you ever did so that kids can go back and look at it. There's a range, but again, it's all available to the students. STEAM, again, we remain committed to the STEAM program at the high school. So Project Lead the Way, again, maintaining 4-year course sequences for that program for those students who are seeking a pre-engineering scope. Computer Science, AP Comp A and AP Comp Principles. And again, added some electives, Human Anatomy, Animal Science, but again, Forensics. Just the picture showing the Ramapo PD working with our forensic students. They've also already visited the medical examiner's office, so we're trying to give them real experiential opportunities to explore those areas. Some are very interested in careers in those areas, so that's just another example of the science behind that. Again, looking at some of the other pieces where we know students have a passion or they want to pursue their passions, we have those opportunities in STIR in Cambridge. STIR is our science research program. Cambridge is more of a humanities research program. WISE is you can research anything program. So there's a range, and the 20% project is independent among different classes and teachers. So there's a lot of opportunities for our students to explore and learn about what they want to learn about, and that's very important to us. And to do that, I'm not like Brian. I only have 3 of these rooms, and he's got 15 of these rooms, so we've got about 4. But we're looking at, again, changing, late to the game. We're looking at changing some of the learning spaces in the building to facilitate that. So we have large groups that want to collaborate together. There's students on a lot of project-based assignments and working together. And so, our low classroom, they redesigned it with the furniture. to make it more applicable to having a conversation as opposed to sitting in a row. Our library collaborative classroom, again, students working in small teams, 4, 3, 4, high tables, low tables, brainstorming on the table. You can write on those desks with markers, and they're erasable. So just a lot of opportunities for kids to brainstorm and work together. And the other collaborative classroom, which is really about setting up your room, facilitating a Socratic seminar perhaps, and breaking up those rows and engaging in more deep conversations. So those are just some ways that that's happening. Our planetarium also working great. So thank you for your support on that. And again, we've bought software that allows other areas to use it, even the anatomy, which you can throw a heart up on the ceiling and spin it around in 3D, and it's pretty wild. So just some really great technology that students are able to access. I want to end with just a quick story. I started the year with this story. It's a Mountie Pride moment for me. We talk about programmatic changes and Yale EI and all these different things. For me, the evidence is in the student. This is Brando Valdez Fontes. He came to us in 9th grade, not speaking a word of English, and he graduated with the class of 2019. He's a great kid, and I just wanted to say this is the evidence that we're looking for. So, all right, so thank you. Thanks.
I just have one quick question.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry. You mentioned RB. Are those the classes that they take that are not
IB?
AP?
IB?
IB?
Yeah, International Baccalaureate.
Okay, so those are like the college classes that are not the AP classes?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
And those are just like foreign language classes?
No, it's a whole program. We looked at it maybe 10 years ago, but your whole school has to become an IB school,
Okay.
so it's a little more comprehensive.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you so much.
You got it.
Are there any other questions for either CSD?
Great job, guys. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, as much as you might be lookalikes at this point, I mean, really, the information is really incredible, and the schools are just incredible, and you know, you both and your teams and everybody that works in your building really should be commended for all the great work that you do. Really. And Mr. Fox, congratulations, and you will be missed.
We have another report.
Another report, yes we do. Pre-K update, is that,
Pre-K report.
okay, I'll move again.
All right, so from our oldest students in the district, we are going to switch gears and talk about our youngest students in the district. And this report is here tonight because although our pre-K program is a 3-year pilot and we are only at the beginning of year 3, we partner with Child Care Resources, and they have to have decisions made earlier as to what the program offerings would be for next year. So we are giving you an update as to where we are in the beginning of year 3. Would you like to start us off? Hi, everybody. So this is really like a dream come true. For me and my partner, Jackie, she couldn't be here tonight, but really the 3 years, I was just saying, I can't even believe that it's up already. Like the pilot has been probably the most highlight of my career, really. I'm choking up just talking about it. It really has made such an impact for me and for all 100 children who I've had. It's really been tremendous. Partnering with all these families from Suffern, from Hilbert, from Salzburg. I'm meeting all their families and grandparents and extended families. It really has been such an amazing experience for our school. Our principal, she's been so supportive of everything. It really has just been a tremendous learning experience. We've created such a warm and safe environment for these little friends that we have. Their friendships have developed and continued. I've seen it through all the elementaries. I'm on the little threads with their families. They have play dates. They go, they have Halloween hunts together. They're going trick-or-treating together. It really has been such an amazing program. Our little Mounties, we call them. They discover, imagine, and grow. as do their teachers, Miss Cindy and I couldn't do it without her. She's been amazing. She's kind and patient, and you really have to be. Like, these guys have so much energy, and so do I. They invigorate me every day, and all of the staff and everybody at Viola has been so welcoming, from Mr. Z to the office staff. If they're late and they welcome them in, it really has just been such an amazing program for Viola and for me and for these little guys who we've met and touched. We've incorporated Yale EI. They're checking in just as in high school and middle school and elementary. They're checking in on their mood meter that we've created. They came up with their own personal feelings, and we're incorporating all of that vocabulary for them. They're learning how to self-regulate, and I'm feeling calm today. I'm feeling a little more active than I usually am. They're putting their little stakes in. Well, you know, I started the day in the red. I was mad. I couldn't wear my rain boots today because it's sunny out, you know. Little things like that, but that does trip up a little Mountie. You can't wear your rain boots and it's sunny. So, again, all of that has trickled down even into pre-K, which has been absolutely amazing. And we've brought purposeful play to the classroom, and we're hoping to expand that with New York State's pre-K through grade 3 initiative that we're trying to launch. So again, it really has just been amazing. The highlights of just, I can't even believe I'm saying 3 years.
All right, so some of the initial goals of the program were to increase access to high-quality pre-K for all Suffern Central students, to draw families to Suffern Central School District with an innovative early learning program, to foster Mountie pride and create a partnership with families from the beginning, to highlight Suffern Central School District's commitment to educate for personal excellence and promote our reputation as an innovative top-performing school district. So because we are only at the beginning of year 3, we're not able to really come up with full solid measures on all of these aspects, but we're going to highlight for you some of the things that we've collected so far. So goal 1 was to provide that high-quality pre-K experience for our students. So by the end of year 3, so we're not at the end of year 3 yet, the goal was to increase the percentage of students reading on or above grade level at the end of kindergarten by 10%, and at the end of grade 1 by 5%. So our first group of pre-K students are only now in the fall of first grade, so we really can't measure that at all yet. However, what we can look at is 2018 to 2019 in kindergarten, and those are the end of year June measures. And we see that meeting or exceeding benchmark in 2018 was at 82%. In 2019, it's at 91%. I do have to highlight the fact that we did make some programmatic changes in kindergarten, and we did see a lot of success with that. It was the addition of phonics programs and some changes in our reading programs. So it is reflective of the pre-K as well as some other changes in the great teaching that's happening in kindergarten as well. But that's a substantial change from year to year, and not very common. So another goal was goal 2, which was to promote our reputation as an innovative, top-performing school district and draw people here. The goal was to increase kindergarten enrollment by 10%. As you can see, it's a little early to be finding any real steady pattern. We went up, now we're dipping down a bit. But again, it's not at the end of the pilot yet, and we don't know what next year's enrollment will look like. But you can see that we were trending up for a few years there. So hopefully we'll get back to that moving forward. So the following graphics were taken from surveys from parents over the past few years, or from families. And there's a few things that I need to highlight here. So first off, these are goals that connect to increasing parent satisfaction of options and readiness for school. So one of the things that I want to highlight is that these are all parents who may or may not have chosen the Suffern Central Pre-K program. So they're parents in our school district who may have sent their children elsewhere. So this is just speaking to the options that they had and whether they felt that their child was prepared for kindergarten academically. So these children in 2017 did not attend the pre-K, and then they may or may not have in 2018 or 19. So you can see it's kind of small. But in 2017, there was an 87 or 88% satisfaction rating with that. In 2018, 97%, and in 2019, 86%. Another thing I need to highlight is the number of responses, because in 2019, there were only 65 responses as opposed to 155 in 2017. So when you have that few number of responses, it does skew the percentages a bit. Again, this one is the satisfaction and options again. So this said, do you feel that you had pre-K options locally that met your needs? In 2017, 82% said yes. 2018, 89%, and in 2019, 76%. And we'll go into some of the feedback as to why they felt that way, because they were offered the opportunity to explain. So the common feedback that came across all of the years that the survey was given was about wraparound care, about having a full day option, and or having opportunities to have children transported to other locations for care beyond the half day that we have been offering. So you can see there's a real common pattern here. Overall though, the feedback was that they love it, they want it, they just want more of it. So for parents who are working, don't have family members who can help out, the half day did present a challenge, which speaks to the options that were rated in the slide earlier. When I looked at the data that was specific to the Viola program, this was very clear. People were very happy with the program. So in year one in 2018, they were given the option to say whether the program exceeded expectations, met expectations, or did not meet expectations. It met or exceeded everyone's expectations. No one who responded to the survey said that the program did not meet their expectations. And then it was even higher last year. So last year, almost 93% of people said it exceeded their expectations, which is a testament to the great work of Mrs. Dawson and her vision for this program and the support that Mrs. Weber gave her, who you can chime in anytime because you definitely—
You're doing great.
You have so much to say about this, you helped us so much. The other piece that's really interesting is listening to our kindergarten teachers and what they have to say about it. They are receiving these students after they've been in the wonderful program that has been created. And since I included only 3, I thought we could take time to just take a look at what they had to say. So one of the kindergarten teachers said, "I have found the students entering kindergarten from the UPK program are making smoother transitions overall. They have an understanding of the concept of school and can follow rules and routines. Many are already able to write their names and can identify some, if not all, of the letters of the alphabet. Many can also identify sounds as well. They are able to count to 10 or more objects and can write some, if not all, of their numbers to 10, and even some to 20. And then I'm going to read the one in the center. Being at Viola, I get to see firsthand the amazing work of the UPK children are doing every day. They are so happy to come to school, and when I visit, the children are actively engaged in following class rules and expectations. Including my current students, I have had approximately 20 students who have been in this program. Every one of them began kindergarten ready to learn. They had no adjustment period and were familiar with school and classroom procedures. I can only hope this program stays in Suffern because it has impacted so many young lives already." So some of the unanticipated positive outcomes, did you want to speak to some of those?
We had while we were getting ready and setting up for this program, we paired up with the high school art society, and they painted these amazing murals. If you've ever been down our hallway, that's one of them. They helped with our motto, Discover, Imagine, and Grow. And then our students put their handprints on it, the first year students. But it depicts all their favorite characters from books, and it's such a warm way to enter the hallway. And all the kindergarten students get to enjoy it, and we're always commenting about the books and the different characters. So it was a really nice, unexpected connection that we did make with the high school students. We had 5th grade helpers who come in during their recess time to work with the afternoon class, and that has been absolutely amazing as well. Your daughter was one of those, and they really do form such great friendships, and it's leadership and community. they're bumping into their little friends in the community, at ShopRite, at dance, and the parents are like, well, who is this? And they're like, oh, that's my fifth grade buddy. So again, it's a really nice, it's at Mousy Pride, it's a community within the school that is really great. And then this was one of our middle school students. She wrote a little quote just about her experience. She enjoyed participating in pre-K buddies because I loved watching the kids grow every day and learn throughout the year. It has taught me to embrace learning and to be invested in education and growing as a student. And Sophie was absolutely amazing. She helped choreograph our first pre-K graduation. So again, like firsthand, she really benefited as well as I did and all the students with this. Again, it's that partnership. Everybody can bring something to the table, which really is amazing. So our students are so fortunate. They do get to go to gym. They have art, music, library. They do know what to expect when they attend kindergarten. They know how to navigate the hallways. They first start the year with a magic rope, and the magic rope takes them along, and they learn what it's like to walk in the hallways. And then, like right about now, we're taking the magic rope away, and they're learning how to walk in the hallways. They know how to be respectful. They're like the little rock stars in the building. Everybody's waving to them. There's a pre-K, everybody is so excited to see them in the school. We paired up with the Suffern Library. They have brought new families into the library as well. They run different programs. And again, that's just another nice connection that we do have with the community. We have visits from the fire department, from the police department, as well as parent experts coming in to share their own expertise as we go through our different units. Our families have really embraced Viola as well. They attended game night. They participated on the school hike. They had tables at multicultural night. Again, they're really just getting to know what it feels like to be a Mountie. And our students have been so fortunate. We have a sensory path right in front of our classroom, and they're doing their yoga poses in the hallway. They're hopping, they're crawling, they're bear walking. Again, benefiting from the growth motor work as well as the academics. It all goes hand in hand in pre-K. We're moving, we're learning, we're jumping, we're skipping, we're segmenting, we're all over and everywhere. But again, it is just, there's been so many unexpected, amazing things that have come from this program.
So I'm not going to read all the long ones, don't worry. But just a few that are on here. One of the ones at the bottom talks about how important the pre-K experience was for one of our English language learners, and how they felt that their child would be so much more successful moving forward because of that great initial experience that they had. Another person saying, my tax money well spent for once, keep up the great work. It's a nice short one. But other people saying on the practical side, the drop-off and pickup procedures were streamlined and easy, which are things that we really do need to consider as well when we're thinking about this program. So overall, the comments were so positive, I just couldn't even fit anymore, but people were really happy. So moving forward, the options and considerations that we have for you are to either maintain the program, expand it, or reduce it. Some of the expansion options would be for option 1 to add a second class of 2 half-day sessions. However, that option is not recommended because there is an insufficient enrollment, especially in the PM sections. Everybody really wants the AM sections, and there's a wait list for those, but the PM sections were less popular across the years that the pilot has existed. Option 2, open a second class offering a full day and maintain 1 class of 2 half-day sessions. So continue as it is, and then adding the 1 full day. The pros of this would be that it meets the needs expressed by parents, and that was a common theme through all the surveys, and a greater benefit to children. The cons would be the cost of staffing and cost to furnish a classroom, and the questions to consider would be where and who would staff it. Option 3, open a second class offering full day, convert current class to full day. The pros of this is that it meets a need expressed by parents again, The cons are the cost of staffing, cost of furnish a classroom. There is no increase in the number of students served. And then the questions there would be where and staffing. And then option 4 is having a community-based organization provide before and after care. The pros are that that does help parents who are working and don't have family members around to help out. The cons of that is that there's legal issues with non-employees in the building, renting space is a liability, and where and how. So thinking of costs and funding, when you take a look at the breakdown per class, so in the half day, we, bless you, can have 18 students per class. So in the half day, you have 2 classes of 18 each. That gives you the 36 students with 1 teacher and 1 aide. The grant funding there is the UPK and another grant from New York State and Title I that we get. So that is factored in there for those 36 students. So if you go down the staff expense for the teacher and then the aide for the total of the half day, you can see that. When you switch over to the full day column, that's where you see that there's fewer students served. And one of the things that we broke it down as is a minimum cost and a maximum cost. And the reason for that is because of the way it is funded through our grants. We do have 20 full day grants. However, the 18 students up there is the maximum that we can have in a classroom, and that would be assuming that all 18 students who receive that grant choose this program. So that would be the minimum cost. The maximum cost would be that you had a mixture of full day students with that grant, and then some students who have only the half day UPK grant, who would then need additional funding to cover the costs of that section. So the maximum cost is what you see up there. An additional cost would be to provide lunch coverage for an aide that would be needed when the students are having their lunch as well in the break that the aide would need. So these are some of the ways, you can consider some of those options and weigh the pros and cons and the costs and funding when you're deciding how you'd like the program to move forward. Mrs. Weber, is there anything you wanted to add?
I would just want to give, I know that I see some wheels turning, so I want to give the board members an opportunity to ask questions, and we can explain this further if that's.
I don't have a question so much as a comment. In the past, the advocacy committee has done quite a bit of work with regard to speaking to legislative people and stuff like that, and Assemblywoman Jaffe was very receptive to possibly giving us grant money with regard to making a full day pre-K. We had a little difficulty getting these numbers. It appears as though you guys have done quite a bit of work in terms of getting this together, and you pretty much have everything you need. We just need to get this stuff to Ms. Jaffe, and I think that she would be very, very receptive to what we have.
So I have a meeting scheduled with her, I believe it's in early December. So I'll be sure to include this and give her the heads up. I have never had that conversation with her, so I don't know the magnitude of what types of numbers she's talking about in terms of funding. Is she able to support us at this 104,000 or 135,000 or 187,000 number?
Oh, yes.
I have no idea.
That's the feeling I got.
Yeah, I believe she
I
felt
would
it was
email it
confident
to her
that
as
she
soon as
could
possible.
procure money.
Oh,
So
yes.
then I will definitely share this with her in advance of our meeting that's in just a couple weeks.
Yes.
We also plan on having her here for an advocacy committee meeting also, so if that's helpful, it gives you maybe a little bit more time than December, but it looks like you have done a lot of the work.
Yeah.
And it's great. I think you guys have really done an excellent job. I really appreciate you putting all this together and the job that you've done there. Thank you.
You have done a great job, and I have a granddaughter that went through the program, and believe me, it's a great stepping stone. It sells itself, this program, and it's because of you guys. You did give us a couple of options. Have you given any thought which option you would like to see going forward? Well, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
I want everything. No.
with the
I
cherry
guess
on
we
top,
kind of
right?
have to sit down and talk about it, I guess. Obviously, I would love to have everything. I would love a full day, 2 half days. I think we would make a lot of people very happy with that.
And the full-day pre-K would be something
The
that would
full
also
day would be
bring young
amazing.
I
families
think
here.
that would
I
bring
think-
people in.
It is, it is challenging for some families to do the shuffle in between, but they make it work. Families make it work.
So if you went back to the annual costs, I just want to clarify, the 135, that's what we currently spend for half day? Is that our current cost? So-
That's the cost to the district.
Okay, so for the year 1920 is 135,000 for what we're offering.
Yes, the
The
current,
1920 school year.
yeah, so that's the current.
135.
Right, so the cost, the total cost is 221,
Right.
but 86,000 of that is covered through UPK grants, so the remaining cost to the district is the 135.
So 135K is the half day. Full day, again, we take potential grants and everything into consideration. At the high end would be 187, 188. So, I mean, really, to go to a full day, you're talking, well, and that's only if you can, so if you were to convert your half day to full day, it costs you an extra 50 grand.
Yes, but you'd service half the number
Right.
of kids.
So, in essence, if you kept a half day like option number 2, if you kept a half day at 135 and you added, I mean, we'd be looking at somewhere, hopefully on the low end, 104, but even if you split the difference, 140, 150. Hopefully.
I will say this, and I'm very, I'm very hopeful that Assemblywoman Jackie has funds that she can supply us with. I will say that every grant we have looked at in the last 4 years, we did not qualify for because we are too low need of a district. So we looked at applying for 3 different grants. And in all of them, they were tiered, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 gets the money first. If there's any money left over, it goes to tier 2. If there's any money left over, it goes to tier 3. And in every one of those grants, we were tier 3. And in every one of those grants, the districts that received the money were all in tier 1. So it never even got to tier 2 when we were in tier 3. So we have not been able to obtain any grant funds from the common pool of pre-K funds. So I'm excited to be able to talk with her about it.
And something that may also be helpful, if we have some sort of metrics regarding, people coming into the pre-K who ultimately end up staying in terms of young families, given our declining enrollment and such, if we can somehow sort of figure that out, families that have stayed.
So what's the challenge with that is this is a very small kindergarten class this year. And so we don't have enough years in yet to see where this trend is going. Because the pre-K program is only open to people who already live here. So you can't come into the Suffern Central pre-K program unless you're already living here.
I thought we were going to be opening it up.
Well, if we had spots, it's something we can consider, but we don't have spots. So, and we wouldn't want to give a spot to someone who doesn't live here
Absolutely.
over someone who does live here.
Absolutely.
Right, but I think maybe I'm not being clear, but in terms of people that may have come here as a result of the fact that we have a pre-K and have gone through the program and have now maybe bought a home, came here and rented and then bought a home.
We could
I don't know if
probably,
that's available even. but
we
if
could
it
probably,
is, that would be-
we do a pre-K survey at the end of the year. We could probably incorporate it into that survey, that type of question. That's a great idea.
So basically, you have 36 students in the program at this point. Is there a waiting list, or has there been a waiting list for students coming in? And how many are on that waiting list?
There's no waiting list for the total number of 36. There's a waiting list for the AM. So
What's
there's
the-
18 in the morning,
Right.
and we've had between 14 and 18 in the afternoon.
Correct.
And so if the afternoon, there are some kids who are in the PM who are on the waiting list for the AM.
How many students are on the waiting list for the AM program total?
It's varied from year to year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like half a dozen at the most.
Yeah.
Usually.
So you could maybe run a full-day program and a half-day AM program, and see how that works out in terms of looking down the line, if it's worth going to 2 full-day programs. And it looks obviously that you're very successful in what you're doing with the children.
Yes, and one good thing is that the UPK that we get For all students, we get the same 35, the half-day slots every year. So we're able to cover the AM and the PM with that UPK money. And then we also get that full-day grant from New York State. And there's 20 additional spots for that.
So, you're gonna go to the timeline next?
Yep. Okay. So because we do partner with Child Care Resources, this is their timeline. They do need some decisions about our plans for next year during the month of December. In January, the applications for UPK become available. In March, by the end of March, those are due. And then in May, the UPK lottery and assignments are made.
And so we were sharing this information with you today, so that if we want, you can discuss as a board at our December meeting what we want to move forward with, because whatever decisions we make are going to have budget implications, and as you think about the budget timeline, it goes right along with it. So we wanted to give you the information today, give you some time to think about it, so that in December we can say to Child Care Resources, this is what we're going to offer. If we do open a second classroom, whether it be half day or full day or whatever, we do have to get that approved by Child Care Resources, and that has to be approved by the end of December. So it's not, I'm not concerned about it being approved, but it does have to be done. We have to go through the steps.
So basically, these are just some of the pictures that kind of resonated with us, capturing our day-to-day things. There is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. And we're hoping that you care about our pre-K program. Thank you.
So thank you both for presenting. I think it's a phenomenal program, and like Ms. Dawson, I remember sitting up here and talking about the program, and just like you, I can't believe it's 3 years already, that we're already towards the end of the pilot. It's amazing. But I think what you do every day and is just phenomenal with these kids, really. It's just fantastic. So thank you. Any other comments? No? Okay, excellent. Information items. Audit committee. Ms. Reamer.
So the audit committee met on November 12th from 7:30 p.m. until 8:54 p.m. with Donnelly Berard from Berard and Associates, who was here earlier tonight. She reviewed with us in detail the 3 financial audits that her firm prepared for the Suffern Central School District. The first was the extra classroom activity funds with a clean opinion. The management comments were, 1, cash taken in needs to follow the guidance of the state. We need pamphlet number 2, I don't know, Teresa, and that comes from the state guidance, so we need to follow it. And then some of some of the clubs were inactive, so they weren't showing any monies coming in and out, so we weren't sure if they were active or not. So some of them could be active, but just don't have any cash flow coming in or out. The second audit was a single audit, which is when an entity expends $750,000 or more for federal assistance received. It's also referred to as an A133 audit. It also had a clean opinion. In the management letter, we need to update some of our written policies and procedures for the management of the award funds per the management letter from the auditors. The final audit that they did is basically the meat and potatoes of the school district. So that one also had a clean opinion. For the year end June 30th, 2018, our revenues were higher than expected, and our expenditures or expenses were lower than expected. It ended our fund balance at $2.3 million higher than expected. The district, the management letter talked about the pilots, which are payments in lieu of taxes, and they said that the district needs to ascertain that the payments that we get from the town are in accordance with the agreements. As the payments are variable from year to year, we need to make sure that we double check the calculations and we're getting our fair share of the taxes. This was not a management letter comment, but it's something as the board that we need to concentrate on, and that's still the reserve funds that we still have that are too high. So we have $23 million that I talk about to no end, of $23 million in tax certiorari's that the state audit dinged the school district on. So, from my opinion, as the chair of the audit committee, when we're doing the budget, we really need to think about the certiorari reserve that we have and use it so that we don't have a tax increase. I've said this before, I think our taxpayers that we have in the school district should not be taxed out of their homes, so we should have a 0% tax increase, or better yet, maybe even give them a little bit of a rebate so that they don't feel the tax burden. So that was the audit committee meeting.
May I add to that?
Sure.
Okay, let me read from the controller's report. The district has accumulated more than $16.3 million in excess funds that could be used to benefit taxpayers, that could be used for reducing the tax levy. That's what was said back in 2011 on the controller's report then, and it basically repeats itself again this time around. So I think one of the things we really have to look at is to making sure that the tax levy is proper and it's reduced as much as possible without reducing any of the fantastic great programs that the district has for Suffern Central.
Any other comments? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Reamer. Discussion items. 5.01, Board of Education business cards. There was a request to have this as a discussion item on tonight's agenda. So I will leave it to Mr. Cairns, who made the request, so only fair to start with you.
Okay, I've made this request, excuse me, last year when I came on the board. I'm just used to those things in terms of my past experience, whether working at RCC in the foundation or the Children of Chernobyl program at Ramapo, or even as a teacher at Ramapo High School. We have business cards, and it really helps when you're going to various meetings and so forth, when the other school board members, have cards, some of you even have jackets. Okay, forget that. I just would like a little card so I can pass it on when I, and get a card from the other person and then connect with them. It's just a very simple thing. If we can get each 100 cards, okay, and I think it'll last the time frame that we're on the board. Okay, it's not a really large expense, but this is the way the system works here. We have to ask for it. So I think it's a great idea even for the teachers to have a card when they go to various conferences. It's, you're much more professional that way, and people do call you. You get their cards and you can call them also. That's my suggestion from last year, and it continues to be the suggestion this year.
And I just want to reiterate what Mr. Cairns said. I know it seems sort of trivial that we're going to sit here and talk about $40 or $50 worth of business cards, but since it is district funds, we are required to have a conversation and, approve the spending of it. So that's why we had to have it down as a discussion item, as small as it might be.
Well,
You can print them at home for yourself.
Yeah.
Technically,
And then-
but you can't use district funds for it.
we can do it. I just need some clarification, so I'm gonna pass around a sheet that just asks you to print your name the way you want it to appear, like Matt or Matthew, you know, those kinds of things. I don't wanna make those decisions for you, so I'm gonna pass this around. We thought that the Board of Education, the general email would be on there, as well as your Suffern Central email, so your first initial, last name. And then I just have a question about what phone number you want on there. Would it just be the district number, the district clerk's number, or your personal phone? So if you want your personal phone on there, indicate that on here, please.
I want Don's phone number on my card.
So I'm gonna pass this around.
800-666.
Assuming that everybody, that all, that the majority of board members want to have cards, we would need to still vote on this at the next meeting. It would still have to be an action item that would have to be voted on. I mean, look, if you gotta follow the procedure here. So, is consensus, yes, is this something that we want to consider?
I think it's a good
I mean,
idea.
it's
We
something
often
that
are
we all
required
want.
to go to conferences and dinners and such, and it's a more professional look for the district. If you have something to exchange, when somebody gives you a card, you should.
It's funny, with all the conferences and dinners that I've been to, I don't think I've ever actually gotten a business card from any board member, but, maybe I just had bad luck.
I've had
You go
different
to
experiences.
Applebee's and they throw your card in and get like a free meal.
That one's still open?
No, not ours, but somewhere.
Throw them all in.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else they want to add as relates to business cards for Board of Education members? No. Okay. So we will
All right.
pass that
You guys
around
just fill that
and
out.
we can put this on and we'll vote on it on the 3rd. Okay, good. Okay, board member comments? Anybody? It can't be about business cards, though.
How about, one of the things that's been on Facebook and television and so forth has been the unfortunate situation of students not having enough money to pay for their lunch. And that, those programs where they're taking away the trips from the students, they're taking away the food from the students and so forth. It's a very, difficult situation. I think it would be incumbent Mrs. Weber to explain how Suffern Central handles that question. I know the answer, so it's okay. It's a law. It's a law.
So first and foremost, we encourage our families to take advantage of the National Free and Reduced Lunch Program. And so if we have families, if we have children who don't have money for lunch, we, encourage them to take advantage of that. We feed every child. Children don't go hungry. We also, there are parents, maybe like myself, who maybe sometimes has 4 kids and forgets to put money on someone's account. And so, a gentle reminder. And our system will, if a student purchases something and there are insufficient funds on the account, it'll send a reminder to the parent. We also, one of the things I think that's been really successful in the past year is doesn't have to do with lunch, but it has to do with our snack program. So more than kids not having food at lunch, we found that we had many children who didn't have their snacks. And so through the Sloatsburg Food Pantry, we've been able to provide healthy snacks to many of our students who don't always have snack. And we also have teachers, of course, who go above and beyond and make sure their children aren't hungry. And so we don't have the issue of children not having lunch or being penalized for, not having an insufficient balance.
The idea is that, Suffern Central not only feeds the mind, it also feeds the body. You have to have both.
All right, thank you.
No more.
Anybody else?
Yes, I have some things I wanted to say.
Mr. McKenzie?
First, I just wanted to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. We won't have a meeting before, until after the holidays, so I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I also wanted to acknowledge that the Cherry Lane PTA family has lost somebody very important to them and close to their hearts.
woman by the name of Anna Maria Lucia passed away this past week. And she was a wonderful lady. I served on the PTA with her, and I didn't know her for very long, but I didn't have to know her for very long to see what a wonderful woman she was. And my heart goes out to Armando and his daughters. I'd like to thank Mr. Fox, Mr. Breen, Ms. Pario, and Ms. Dawson for their presentations tonight. They were all very informative and very good. Mr. Fox, I just wanted to say thank you for your service over the years. You're going to be sorely missed. I'd like to thank Mr. Diamond for inviting me to the speech competition to be a judge. It's an honor again to do that. And I want to say congratulations to all the kids that are going to try to be in the High School Musical. Beauty and the Beast was the selection, and I'm eager to see how it turns out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was writing. First, I want to say that I firmly believe in transparency, and that's why I voted nay on a board resolution tonight. Second, I want to say thank you so much for all of you for your presentations tonight on the CSIP and the pre-K highlights tonight. The work that all of you do, teachers, staff, admin, is so appreciated. Everything that you do for the kids as a parent, what you do for the kids is just amazing. What you've done for my kids, you know, I see the results of those two people and how they've grown and how they've changed and how all of you have shaped their lives. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you. And to Mr. Fox, you know how I feel about you. Like, I know I've been in your office a million times, so, well, not a million, but I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for all of those kids and making everybody feel welcome and comfortable. And thank you for all of your years of service.
Appreciate it.
Well, Mr. Fox, if you think you're going to get choked up tonight, just wait till May. Wait till retirement night.
We'll be like, who?
Does anybody have anything else they want to add?
One last thing, I saw the Diary of Anne Frank at the high school. You know, it's a fantastic story in terms of history and everything, but the students and the stage set and everything else was really fantastic. And what's really the nicest thing about the programs here in Suffern, in terms of whether it be the drama or the musical, is the fact that the idea is to try to incorporate as many students as possible. So you actually had students playing the role of Anne Frank. You know, there were two of them actually, okay, and different ones, so that it opened up to more students, and it was really a great program, and particularly outside. You know, as being a history teacher, it's not only seeing the play itself, but also the material outside about Anne Frank, the house, everything about that. So it really became not only a play, but it also became a great history lesson. Unfortunately, the numbers statistically that Americans don't even know, 64% I believe, don't even know that there was a Holocaust. Okay, so these are things that really bring that home and understand it from a young person's viewpoint of surviving for 2,500 days, was it 2,500 days, I believe, altogether. Okay, so really great show and great history. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's move on to public participation. This is public participation on any district business. Please step to the mic. You'll have 3 minutes. Be a total of 30 minutes for this session. Please refrain from mentioning any district personnel or students, and just please, you can say that. I just got to finish my little speech, and just please, just state your name and your affiliation. That's all.
Hi there, my name is Ira Beja. I have a son. I'm talking about school transportation. Like I said, my name is Ira Beige. I'm with my wife, Karen Beige. We have a son who attends Suffern High School in the 11th grade. We formerly lived on Mile Road, just a stone's throw away from the high school. As of October 21st of this year, we moved to Woodmont Hills, a roundabout in Sloatsburg, which is located 950 Woodmont Lane on the southbound side of 17 near Annie Ellis. Before we moved there, and one of the reasons we picked that place is that the person at Woodmont, which no names will be mentioned, told us there would be no problem with busing. And of course, when we got there was a problem with busing. We have no bus right now, right? Now my wife is driving my son to school every day. We called the transportation department, no names mentioned, and they told us that he has to wait on 17. You know, and it's kind of dangerous on 17 at that time with the buses and the cars are shooting over to go on the thruway. So we went back and forth. We called around with the police department. We spoke to them. Obviously, they have nothing to do with the transportation, but they didn't think it's a good idea for a child or anybody to wait on 17 at, I don't know what time it would be, 6:45 in the morning maybe. So then we went back to Woodmont and they invited Chestnut Ridge Transportation and some people from Suffern to come look at the complex, see what the issue is. And supposedly, I wasn't at the meeting, Chestnut Transportation said it's not a problem. They can come in, I don't know if anybody's familiar with that area. They can come in after Annie Ellis, they can go in the entrance that says right now construction only, but that could be redone supposedly from Woodmont. They can come up that way and then go down the other entrance and go back on 17, go down to 59, make a left, and you'll be on, you'll be on basically almost on by Old Road, I guess, Orange Road, Orange Turnpike. And that's where we stand now. We haven't got no response. So right now my son is being driven by my wife every day, who is a retired teacher. She retired from East Round for 32 years, and now she's waking up every day at 6 o'clock in the morning to take my son to school every day. So it becomes an issue if she's sick or not. And my son hates missing school. I think he missed like one class. You probably can check it out, but I don't know why that is either. But that's where we stand, and we're not getting anywhere. And I know the last they said was that meeting was on November 6th. And I think the last they said was that Woodmont lawyers would have to meet the Suffern people and get a waiver of some sort. And I don't know if it was mentioned, probably wasn't mentioned, it's probably all news to you guys. But if this can be expedited, I'd appreciate it very much. Thank you for your time.
If you wouldn't mind, and the purpose of the public participation isn't to have it's not for dialogue, but if you wouldn't mind just leaving your name and contact information.
I will do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oops, sorry.
Good evening, Matt Billion. Really quick, after just seeing Mr. Green's great presentation, being in the audience, I just want to say over my past 3 years, I'm a senior now. This presentation was really good. I want to thank Mr. Green, Dr. Truss, and Dr. Douglas, who have been working so hard to make great advancements to the high school. And not just that, but over my time since Viola, starting kindergarten, the district as a whole, truly amazing educational opportunities. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Going once? No? Twice? All right, I will close this portion of the meeting. Acting Superintendent, closing comments.
So first, I'd like to thank our secondary administration, principals and assistant principals for all you do. Wonderful presentations tonight and wonderful schools. And I'm going to be in denial for the next 6 months, but congratulations, Brian. Also, thank you to Ms. Dawson and Ms. Perio for the pre-K presentation. That's been, it was Ms. Dawson's dream, and it sort of became my baby, so it's wonderful to see how that program has flourished. The musical reveal, Beauty and the Beast, was really fun today. I also had the pleasure of seeing The Diary of Anne Frank, a wonderful production. The kids were terrific. The lighting was really cool, if anyone saw it. Congratulations to the boys volleyball team, who were Section 1 champions, who lost in their regional regional game against Shenandoah, but the game was at Suffern High School, and there was an amazing turnout of students. So much so that I had to actually move them a little bit out of the aisles on the bleachers because they had sort of taken over the entire bleachers. But they did it was a tremendous turnout, very supportive of the team. Our fall sports are up and running. Quarter one's over, we're into quarter two now. Suffern High School USO blood drive on Monday afternoon. So those of you who are able to give blood, if you can put that in your schedules, that'd be great. And I would like to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. I will say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Have a great holiday. And before Thanksgiving, I know we just talked about it. It's a blood drive, Tuesday the 26th. I'll be there. I'm there.
Oh, no. Have a good night.
All right, I got my dates mixed up. It's Monday. I'll be there. I'll be there on Tuesday too, I guess. But, you know, if you can, please go donate, do what you can. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Mrs. Reamer, second. Dr. Nickon. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Chris was like,
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
thanks, everybody. I was wondering who's that.